Hall and Nash had recently left WWF. Jeff Jarrett was out the door, and it seemed like at every turn here, WCW was just poaching talent from Vince, much the way that Vince had kind of done to Bill Watts back in the day with Mid South and all his talent.
Mhm.
Now the tables have turned, and all of a sudden, a bunch of Vince's talent that he's established on TV are turning over to the competitor. It makes me wonder. Do you recall? I know that you had said that you and Vince, Vince said, "Well, we should have had a conversation about it." Did Vince ever come to you once you gave your 90-day notice or whatever and say like, "Hey, come on, let's work this thing out"? Or did JR? I know he was the head of talent relations.
No, no.
Nobody made an effort to keep the $1 million man in the
Well,
WWF.
yeah, I wasn't a wrestler anymore,
Mhm.
and that's the top thing, And I had been a manager, but now I was, you know, um, again, I'd done the commentating thing, and now I'm being a manager. But up until Vince asked me to go on the road with Sid, I was a manager on TV.
Okay.
The managers didn't have to make the house shows, but because Vince wanted somebody to kind of like babysit somebody, more or less, that's and I figured, well, that's his prerogative. If that's what he wants me to do, then and so when the other offer came up, I just jumped on it. And again, he and I, and he told me, he said, Ted, you should have just come and talked to me.
Here's the other thing to consider is that at this point, WWF was really struggling financially. And being that you're a well established personality in pro wrestling, I'm sure that you didn't come inexpensive, especially if they were putting you on the road at times for house shows when ordinarily they aren't putting managers on the road. So it's another big expense. So who knows? Maybe Vince was like, "Hey, like I hate to see Ted go, but gosh, it's good to get something off the books so we can try to turn a profit with this damn thing."
And actually, I didn't realize, well, you research this stuff so much more than anybody, but I didn't realize that they were, having a financial issue.
So shortly after this period,
Yeah.
Vince was actually having I think automatic light switches put on in Titan Towers so that lights wouldn't remain on in rooms so that they could save on the light bill. He was having the water coolers removed from the building so that they wouldn't. He was cutting expenses at every single corner during the Monday Night Wars when WCW was kicking their butt.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm sure that that was a contributing factor.
Well, and then too, to go over and the other guys that were there, the guys that jumped ship and went, and I think the biggest factor for most of those guys was, until the WCW thing happened, and there was a legitimate, I guess, uh, competitor. Uh, when Vince was the only show on the road, you didn't, there weren't, you had to take what you were given,
Yeah.
basically. And this is the first, now that there's this contract issue, now there's somebody that can offer you as much or more money than you've been used to getting, and that became very competitive.